Commander of the intergalactic prison, Azura facility froze in the winter. Through the halls of his realm, his complex, he examined the columns of cells individually, each being home to a different species that had been vanquished. Today was the big day for all of us across the galaxy. It was a regular part of the twice-yearly audit examination to guarantee that nobody had gotten away before deciding their fate. He halted at the human-designated cell. Empty. A snarl of displeasure escaped his reptilian throat. One species is not here, he snarled to a nearby guard, a hulking monster with 4 arms and a face of tentacles who trembled. The humans, sir, they don't surrender, the guard replied. Azura's eyes narrowed. Then we will discover why. Motivated to make an example of them, Azura ordered a search party to find and capture the humans. His forces spread out, scouring the surrounding communities. But Ken Morgan and his gang had foreseen this. They had constructed a network of underground tunnels and bases, using their diminutive size to their advantage. Ken, a former military strategist, had always been driven by a spirit of duty and justice. His family had been seized by the aliens during the first invasion, fueling his desire to fight back. Flashbacks revealed his background, highlighting the sacrifices he had made and the people he had lost. Azura's frustration rose as his search yielded no results. Ken and his crew had gone underground. Literally, the humans had adapted to their harsh circumstances, employing their resourcefulness and ingenuity to survive. They held strategic planning sessions, prepping for the day they would strike back. Tension grew as Azura's soldiers closed in on the human hideout. Then Azura received unexpected help. A traitor inside the human ranks. This traitor provided Azura with intel, locations, routines, weaknesses. It set the stage for a major confrontation. Ken and his team prepared for Azura's assault, using guerrilla tactics and traps. They managed to hold off the invaders despite being greatly outnumbered. Amidst the chaos, Ken found himself face to face with the traitor, an old friend. This personal betrayal added emotional depth, adding complexity to the conflict. Ken outmaneuvered Azura, sparking a series of explosions that collapsed part of the facility, cutting off alien reinforcements. The humans escaped through their tunnels, sustaining minimal casualties. Just when victory seemed assured, Ken learned Azura had captured a small group of civilians, including children. Azura demanded Ken's surrender in exchange for their lives. Ken faced a moral dilemma. He understood that surrender would mean the end of the resistance, but he could not forsake the hostages. Azura gave him a deadline. Ken's leadership was put to the ultimate test. He reflected on his journey, the sacrifices made, the people lost. His resolve was bolstered by his crew's support. In a brave and unexpected move, Ken organized a rescue mission. Using their deep knowledge of the facility's layout, the humans infiltrated Azura's stronghold in a tense and thrilling sequence. They released the hostages and confronted Azura. The final showdown was intense, but not graphically violent. Ken used his wits to outsmart Azura, who had underestimated the human spirit. The humans escaped, leaving Azura's facility in ruins. The narrative ended on a hopeful note. Ken and his people had found a new hidden refuge, where they could continue their fight for freedom. Ken Morgan sat in the dimly lit cavern, surrounded by his team. The air was thick with the scent of damp stone and the hushed murmurs of strategy. They had built a vast network of tunnels and hideouts beneath the planet's surface, a testament to human resilience. "We need to move swiftly," Ken said, his voice steady but urgent. "Azura's forces are growing closer every day. We can't afford to be exposed." His team was a diverse crew, each with unique skills. Alice, a brilliant engineer, was working on tech that could disrupt alien communications. Marcus, a former pilot, was mapping tunnels for fast, efficient escapes. Emma, the medic, tended a wounded comrade with skilled precision as they discussed their next move. Ken's thoughts drifted to his family. The memory of their capture still haunted him. He had sworn to fight for their freedom. Outside the cavern, Azura's forces continued their relentless search, led by Azura himself. Their determination grew daily. The traitor's betrayal had put them all at risk. Time was running out. Ken gathered his team. They would strike Azura's main base using surprise as their weapon. Their goal: disable alien communications and buy themselves more time. They moved through the tunnels, silent and in sync. They emerged near Azura's base, concealed in shadow. Alice deployed her device, adjusting it carefully while Marcus and Emma kept watch, Tension hung in the air like a wire stretched to breaking point. Almost there, Alice whispered. Ken looked at his team. He felt a surge of pride. They had come so far. The device activated, and a high-pitched tone filled the air. Alien guards reeled in confusion, their systems down. Ken gave the signal, and the team struck. Quick, precise, effective. They reached the control room. Alice hacked the system, disabling the base's defenses. As they retreated, Ken's instincts kicked in. Something felt wrong. Stop, he said, and silence fell. Suddenly, the ground trembled, and tunnel walls crumbled. Azura had set a trap. Ken shouted orders as they scrambled through collapsing tunnels, emerging into a massive cavern. Azura's voice echoed. Did you really believe you could outsmart me, humans? Surrender now. Maybe I'll spare your lives. Ken's eyes narrowed. We're not giving up, he said. We've come too far. They moved again through the labyrinth of tunnels, chased, hunted, determined. Finally, they reached the hidden exit. Ken pushed through vines, leading them into a dense forest. They had escaped, but the war wasn't over. We'll keep going, Ken said. This isn't the end. The team nodded, their resolve unshaken. As the sun dipped behind jagged mountains, they huddled around a fire in their new hideout, a remote cave in the forest. We need to fight back, Ken murmured, but we have to be smarter this time. Alice spoke first. I've got an idea. We could build a fake signal to trick their forces. Marcus nodded. Risky, but it might just work. Emma added, we should gather intel first, find their weaknesses. Ken agreed. You're right, Emma. We can't afford to rush in blindly. Let's split our efforts. Alice, you work on the decoy signal. Marcus, scout the region and find out what we're up against. Emma, check if you can get in touch with our allies. We need all the aid we can get. The squad divided into their jobs. Each member concentrated on their part. Ken watched them go, feeling a mix of pride and anxiety. They had been through so much together, and he knew their power lay in their unity. As night fell, the jungle around them seemed to come alive with the noises of nocturnal creatures. Ken sat alone by the fire, deep in thought. He couldn't shake the recollection of his family's capture. It strengthened his determination, reminding him of why they fought. A rustling in the bushes snapped him out of his reverie. He tensed, reaching for his weapon, but calmed when he saw it was Marcus returning from his scouting mission. We've got an issue, Marcus said, his voice quiet. Azura's forces are closer than we expected. They've set up a temporary base just a few miles from here. They're planning for something enormous. Ken's jaw tightened. Then we don't have much time. We need to respond before they start their next offensive. The squad gathered once more. The intensity of the situation was apparent. Alice had completed the fake signal, and Emma had made contact with a neighboring opposition group eager to assist them. They sketched out their plan, each aspect carefully considered. As dawn broke, the team moved swiftly through the forest, their steps silent, precise. They reached a vantage point overlooking Azura's base. The sight of extraterrestrial soldiers moving with mechanical precision sent a shudder down Ken's spine. Alice activated the decoy signal. They watched as confusion spread among the enemy ranks. Alien warriors scrambled to respond to the apparent threat, leaving their base vulnerable. It was the opening they needed. Ken led the charge, his team following closely behind. They moved with efficiency born of endless clashes, disarming guards and sabotaging equipment. Azura's forces were caught off guard, their defense faltering under the surprise assault. They reached the center of the base, where Azura himself awaited. His alien form was imposing, his eyes filled with a chilling intellect. Humans, Azura hissed, his voice oozing disdain. You think you can defeat me? Your resistance is futile. Ken stepped forward, his eyes unflinching. We've come too far to back down now. You won't win. The battle that followed was ferocious. Azura's strength and cunning were formidable, but Ken and his team fought with a determination born of desperation and hope. They matched Azura's every move, their teamwork and tenacity pushing them forward. With a final decisive strike, Ken managed to disable Azura's control device, rendering him vulnerable. The alien staggered, his mechanical enhancements failing. You may have won this round, Azura hissed, withdrawing. But this is far from finished. As Azura fled, Ken knew they had bought themselves some time. The base was in chaos. Azura's soldiers were scattering. It was a small win, yet a triumph nonetheless. The team regrouped, their tiredness clear but their spirits high. They had struck a blow against their enemies and proved that they could fight back. But Ken knew the war was far from done. "We've got a chance now," he stated, glancing at his crew. "Let's use it wisely."